Growing up in his remote village, Kabir's daily reality was defined by deficit. Most days, his pockets were entirely empty. He navigated the dirt paths with holes in his shoes, carrying a torn school bag, and often going to sleep hungry. Yet, hidden completely out of sight, he carried a massive ambition. He intended to break his family out of this cycle and construct a completely different future. When he voiced this plan, the village responded with ridicule. The adults around him insisted a boy with nothing should focus strictly on securing his next meal, actively discouraging him from looking any further ahead. The most dangerous threat of severe poverty is not the physical hunger. It is how forcefully it attempts to shrink your mental horizon to match your surroundings. One evening, sitting defeated by the river, Kabir crossed paths with an old, perceptive teacher named Guruji. Kabir admitted his struggle, explaining how everyone told him his ambitions were too large for his empty hands. Instead of offering pity, Guruji handed the boy a small mirror. He instructed Kabir to look at his own reflection, acknowledging the visible exhaustion, but then challenged him to look deeper. This animation illustrates exactly what Guruji wanted him to see, a burning internal belief. He called it the hidden fire, noting that most people allow this core to extinguish under the weight of their circumstances. The external skepticism from the village would constantly act like dust settling over the glass, attempting to obscure his true potential. The only way to keep the reflection clear was through continuous, disciplined action. To achieve any real scale in life, you have to construct a mental firewall. You must completely insulate your internal vision from the strict limitations of your present reality. Kabir internalized this and immediately weaponized his daily routine. After sitting through school each morning, he spent his evenings washing glasses and serving customers at a local tea shop, dedicating his weekends to apprenticing under a village mechanic. Long after the village went to sleep, he sat alone under a single dim light bulb. He sacrificed sleep, comfort, and sometimes even food, studying the mechanics of electronics with intense, exhausting focus. What kept him awake wasn't willpower alone. It was the precise mental visualization of the future he had promised himself. He kept the metaphorical mirror entirely clear. Big thinking without execution is a delusion. A massive dream demands an equally immense physical sacrifice to bring it into existence. Eventually, those late-night study sessions yielded a tangible result. Kabir acquired enough technical skill to open a tiny mobile repair desk in a small corner of his village. His early operational model was extremely disciplined. He saved every single rupee he earned and treated every customer with a level of respect that prioritized long-term loyalty over quick profit margins. This visual represents his compounding growth. By carefully funneling his profits right back into the operation, that single repair desk mathematically evolved. He gathered enough capital to lease an actual, dedicated electronics shop. He applied the exact same reinvestment logic to the new shop. He used its larger revenue stream to exponentially finance new locations, rapidly widening his footprint far beyond a single storefront. Massive scale rarely happens overnight. It is almost always the mathematical output of relentless, compounding momentum driven by tiny, disciplined reinvestments. Through smart planning and sheer force of will, Kabir entered the empire phase of his business. One store became 3, and he eventually launched his own proprietary brand of mobile accessories. The exact same neighbors who had once laughed at his childhood ambition were now waiting outside his office, hoping for a chance to work for him. He had successfully engineered a complete operational shift, transitioning from a poor village repairman to the owner of a recognized regional brand. When internal belief reaches a critical mass and is paired with action, it forcibly rewrites the external world to match its scale. But the financial metrics were entirely secondary to his original objective. He could finally afford consistent, high-quality medical treatment for his ailing mother. And his aging father finally stepped away from the scorching sun, leaving the grueling agricultural labor behind for good. When Guruji visited the new enterprise, he found a young man who proved his earliest lesson. Kabir had demonstrated that a person's capability isn't measured by the money in their pocket, but by the clarity of their vision. True scale begins from within. If you want to rewrite your own story, You have to protect your internal spark from the noise around you and start executing your massive dream today.